just hope more women start to realize that whenever you're engaging with men online, they're probably full of crap. That's right, full of crap. You can like multiply it times 100 if it's around a dating. So this is a column of a column. What the hell, male, whatever we're calling it. Okay, the male, go to male. I don't know, I still haven't decided, but let's get into it. I read this, like sped through it, I don't know, a week ago. So I don't even remember what it's about, but I just remember being like, oh my God, older women are just as susceptible to men's BS as young women, despite so much experience with men. Sometimes older women have way more to deconstruct than women who have no experience dating men. Even terrible experiences haven't taught those women yet, and that's okay. Better late than never. Let's get into it. This is a Dear Annie. Dear Annie, I am new to online dating. I started up with it after my husband's sudden death last year. He died just before the shutdowns began, which left me feeling even more isolated and sad. Absolutely relatable. This was a hard time for most people. Single women really struggled, single, like not being touched. But a lot of married women, this was a nightmare. It was like people were jealous of each other. Some women were just like, I would give anything to not have to be in a house with this loser. And then a lot of women who were single, who were, you know, missing companionship and stuff, were like, I would do anything to just be touched. And I honestly think that that is such a relatable conundrum, because I remember when I was, 38, hanging out with a woman who was married with children. She was like, this is my first time to be without my kids in like 9 years. I was like, what? You haven't had a moment alone in 9 years? And then I'm just sitting here like, wow, I can't imagine not being alone all the time, which honestly I would prefer to that. But it's like these two extremes, which is what actually oftentimes happens to women under patriarchy. Either you're in a relationship but feel utterly alone, or you're not in a relationship and you feel utterly alone. I would argue it's way lonelier to be with someone and feel alone, because you're also being exploited and gaslit and ignored, and that I think causes more trauma than literally not being with anyone at all. But both are very difficult. She spends lockdowns or whatever alone. And this, honestly, I mean, remember Risa Tisa? That whole story? You cannot take these stories out of context. This is a relatable story at any moment, but especially in this one when no one knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew, like, am I going to die soon? Is the world falling apart? So people sometimes made extreme decisions because everyone was feeling things more intensely than ever. Honestly, we still haven't gotten over this trauma. We haven't even dealt with it. Just carry right along as if all those people didn't die and this threat isn't still here. But anyway, I moved away from my hometown to be closer to my oldest son, but I don't know anyone in this town aside from him. Yeah, see, now that's your problem right there. You may be close to your son, but we know men, right? Even if you're not like a toxic boy mom, have like a healthy relationship with your son that doesn't involve enmeshment. Even if you're not a toxic boy mom and don't have, haven't, enabled a king baby into the world who is a menace to other women now. Even if you are not enmeshed and have a healthy relationship, we just know that in general, men are not like the best caretakers historically, statistically. I mean, if their own husbands are 6 times more likely to leave a woman if she gets chronically ill, you don't think the same is true for their son. So anyway, moving to a new town where you don't know anyone, just be close to your son, who also, even if he is a very loving child and y'all have a really healthy relationship, like, you got to make friends, honey. You got to build your community. You can't rely on a man as a husband or a son to be your whole world, and you just orbit around it. It's not healthy, first of all, for you or them, and it's usually not going to end up well. You gotta get out and make friends. Being so lonely a few months ago, I started going on Facebook and a dating app to try to meet men. First of all, I would love to know how old this lady is. If she's a widower, or is it widower? I don't know. I forget which is, it doesn't matter. These are the women who are the most susceptible to becoming, where's my puppet? Oh, well, don't have her. Hospice wife. Thank you, Candace Kelly, for that term. I really wish women who, I'm assuming you're older, I wish older women would just try to have the golden girl life goals, not this. Again, revolving around a son or a husband or just men in general is never gonna do you any good. I connected with one man I was interested in. Instead of stopping there, I thought I kept chatting around and connecting with 7 more guys. Good for you. Love that energy. Chat with each of them daily. This sounds like a waste of time and exhausting. Why don't you put that energy into your female friendships? Because again, these men are not gonna like be there for you when you need them. And also they're probably all married. Actually sitting next to their wife as they tap this, usually. They all say that they'll love me forever. Red flag. Red flag. I don't know if you could understand that. This is my new microphone. This is my new favorite toy, $5. Any man that says he's gonna love you forever who's never met you in person, that man is a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire, run away. Please, like this right here means you need to get away. Get away, get away. But not one has come to me. They all say they're gonna love me forever, but none of them has met up in person. If this isn't the most common dating app experience. You know, it's so funny because men will be like, I'm so tired of getting catfished. I'm so tired of when we need, you know, like whatever. It's like, bro, okay. You don't think we're getting catfished too? I got catfished once. No, more than once, but like believed it once. Like a lot of y'all are just so, a lot of men are so delusional on these dating apps. They actually think a woman who looks like AI or just a supermodel is going to be responding to someone with no description in their profile, terrible mirror or car selfie photos. And then they're like, I don't understand, women are just like, they're all catfishers, they're all fake. No, they're just, it's probably men who are exploiting you, by the way. You know how many times it's actually men hiding behind a woman's profile to extort money from men? But, you know, just like OnlyFans or any other kind of work. Sorry, bro, all created this world, so if women do this to survive it, then good for her. If you're naive and so delusional and feel so entitled to like a beautiful, beautiful woman with nothing going for you, then that is your own, just unpack that entitlement and ignorance, because you don't just deserve stuff for nothing. You don't deserve a wife, you don't deserve her labor, you don't deserve her body, you don't deserve anything. Just because you're on an app and made no effort to put anything into your profile and then are like, I don't understand, I'm getting exploited by all these bots that are all mostly men, by the way. But this part right here is something very relatable. As someone who was on the app, men would not even hook up with me. This is because they're all either married or lazy. Too lazy to come over and hook up. Because what they really want is OnlyFans without paying. They all wanted me to send photos. The few times that I did, guess what? They were about to come over and all of a sudden, you know what? Never mind. Why would they come over and have to actually make effort and eat my kitty cat and all that stuff when they could just look at a photo for free and off to it, right? Why would they spend gas money, time, energy, effort, and all that stuff? A lot of these men don't ever want to meet up with you. They live in their little fantasy world or their mom's basement or whatever's going on in their life, or they're in a house paid for by their wife, right next to their wife, even if it's not paid by her. Most of these men, and they literally are all full of crap. Some of them are like criminal. Got a lot of hobosexuals on those apps and just everywhere. They're all on the hobosexual spectrum, if you ask me, because they're all going to exploit your labor or try to on some level. Anyway, I can't tell you how much time I wasted on these apps talking to men who had no intention of ever meeting up. What a waste of time. And I didn't even want a relationship. I literally was just like, I just want to like hook up and have some fun because I'm too traumatized to date anybody. But I'm a horny little bunch. And these men wouldn't even do that. I'm telling you, like, this is so relatable, but for different reasons. This woman just doesn't understand how terrible men are. I prefer to have a boyfriend whom I could actually meet in person. Yeah, you deserve at least that. They ain't ever coming over, you're never meeting them. I like all of them. You don't know them. I like all of them, and I love something. You don't love them. You don't know them. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta stop. I'm very excited about this. Don't even use this word love. You don't even know them. What are you even talking about? The weather? Like, oh my God. I feel so bad for this lady. One of the reasons why I do these stories, I just want to show you how much we have to unpack here, how much we create fantasies, how much we are so romantic relationship centered or male centered, but even if you don't date men, how much this indoctrination into like, I am no one without a partner. Seriously, okay, if you're not Gen X or, you know, older millennial, if you have not watched The Golden Girls or Grace and Frankie, and you follow me and you're new or even not new on your decentering men, patriarchy, white supremacy culture, like capitalism, all that stuff, right? Because they'll tie together. Please watch that. Please watch that. That is a great place to start, is envisioning a life for yourself that is like about friendship and community and supporting each other and loving each other, rather than like going on Facebook to try to find a husband, even though none of them will meet you, but they all love you and want to be with you. Like, what? Anyway, it's never too late. It's never too late to decenter men. I love something about each of them, but I feel torn since I can only marry one man. Oh my God. Don't marry any of them. Don't get married at all. Girl, what are you doing? Sorry, that's just too much fun. I hate to hurt 7 men. This is like so endearing. This is so sweet. But I'm really worried about you. Lady, I don't know how old you are. You could be like a younger widower or whatever, or an older one, but either way, you are so screwed. If you actually think any of these men are hurt, you're not going to hurt any of these men, any 7 of them. They are not even real people, or they're all just liars, or like already married. I promise you. The reason why you can only marry one man, but they have no problem being, promising to marry you, even though they're already married, because they're lying. Do you think that I made a big mistake by talking to 8 of them? No. Well, yeah. Stop talking. Honestly, I really want to normalize this dating a bunch of men at once, because I promise you, they're dating multiple people. I promise you, this dude each of these 8 men is talking to like 80 other women. So, like, seriously, unless you are in a committed relationship, do not assume that the men you're talking to online, if you are, do not assume, or even dating, do not assume that y'all are in an exclusive relationship. Until you're like engaged, maybe, or like y'all have talked about it at the bare minimum. But see, this is a great example of what it's like. When I entered like the dating world, I hadn't dated anybody, but I feel like I kind of experienced what a lot of people who get out of marriages experience, who have like not dated in a long time and didn't know about apps or like that whole world. So they get, they've married 10, 15, 20 years, and then they divorce. And then when they finally start trying to date again, they enter this hole and are like, what is this? And they just like totally don't know how much people lie. No idea how much, like, most people, especially men, are lying. And so I feel so bad for her. You really don't understand how awful these dudes are, do you? She's like, I feel so bad. Don't feel bad. I feel bad. Here we go. We feel so bad for things we should never feel bad for. And the reason why you shouldn't feel bad for this is because I promise you, they are not doing what you're doing. They are. They're talking to a lot of people, but they're not actually looking for relationships. They're bored. If they're not married, they're bored. Or they're looking for a hospice wife. But if they won't even meet up with you, none of them will ever meet up with you. Cut all of them off now. Get off this site. Oh my God, I'm so worried about her. I feel bad that I've been holding up their lives just to break their hearts. Can you see yourself in this? I can. Y'all, the amount of time that I spent feeling bad for things, because I just assumed, conversations with men were in good faith. You are not holding up their lives, I promise you. Oh my God. I feel so bad for her. But seriously, this is what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter if you were 18 or 80. So many women think like this still. And I don't know what her relationship with her husband was like. I hope to God she had a really lovely one. But if she had a lovely one, the chances of you finding another lovely one are not good. Because again, when you are, the older you get, especially, you know, when you're like, I'm telling you, these older men, especially, or even younger men, they're looking for a nurse and a purse. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't find love after, you know, 40, 50, whatever. I'm just saying you better be real careful, because especially older men usually haven't deconstructed any of this stuff. A lot of them have no intention of doing it. So even if their little heart loves you as much as it possibly can, if they're not willing to deconstruct their entitlement that they were taught in patriarchy, they're going to exploit the crap out of you, and you're going to be their nurse and purse, hospice wife, and all that. And let's hope you don't have a lot of money. Hope that you don't have like sitting on like a lot of like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from a life insurance policy from your late husband, because that's another thing. If these men meet up with you, you got to make sure that they're not trying to steal your money. All right, let's see what Annie says. Dear Lonely, I'm so sorry for the loss of your husband. It's wonderful you've taken initiative to reach out to others to alleviate your sense of isolation. Okay, yeah, but it's great that you're taking initiative to reach out. Why don't you do that with friends? Seriously. Seriously, my guess is that you maybe didn't have that many friends in your marriage, because after he died, why are you still so lonely? Like, I understand losing a partner. I can only imagine, especially with their lives tied together in so many ways. But I'm really concerned that she left whatever community she had to go live near her son. She doesn't know anybody other than him. Because again, even the most loving, non-enmeshed son is not going to center you, nor should he. He's not your friend. I'm never going to be my parents' friend. I can talk to them eyeball to eyeball, but they're never going to be my friend. There is a power dynamic there, right? They will never see me as an equal, exactly, because they raised me. Everyone deserves relationships with people that there is no in power dynamic, which is very hard to find with men if you date them. And just because of parenting, it's kind of not set up to be that way. Even when you're literally wiping their butt when they're old and in diapers, they'll still try to tell you what to do. But you won't find real companionship in men who can't even be bothered to meet you in person and who could be scammers. Exactly. Rather than wasting your time chatting with men online, go outside and get to know your new town. Join a book club. That's a great idea. Walking groups, tennis clinic, anything that piques your interest. The point is to plant your seed and let a social life take root. Exactly. We all know how hard it is to make friends at every age, but a lot of times the older you get, well, actually, I think sometimes when you're older, once the people are retired, it's actually can be, easier to make friends because you have time and you aren't just so exhausted from parenting small children and whatever, if you did that. But making friends in your 30s is really hard. In your 40s, you just don't have as many interactions with people like you would, say, if all of you going out and you have clubs and activities and stuff. But that doesn't mean you can't. There are ways to make friendship. It just takes a lot of time and effort and vetting. But a good place to start, because y'all ask me this all the time, join a club. I joined a drum club. So random, y'all. But I love it so much, and I met a lot of friends through it. And I don't even understand half of what's going on because the language barrier in terms of speaking so fast and using a lot of slang. But I've met a lot of great friends there, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. If you decide to try meeting men online, stick to well-reported dating sites like Match.com, blah, blah, and when you think you have a connection with someone, promptly make plans to meet in person in a coffee shop or whatever, or other public place. That's good. I just saw an episode of Schmegs in the City last night, and the way those women let men pick them up at their apartment on a first date. What? Seriously, y'all. I've got some Schmegs in the City content coming soon. By the way, I did a poll on my Patreon about the next movie review to do. I actually have a couple more that I already had queued up that I'm going to be doing before those. So Schmegs in the City is coming. I will try to do Poor Thing, but I honestly, I still don't know what to make about that movie. That was the most popular request other than Schmegs in the City. Anyway, I will do my best, but I'm not going to do a deep dive on it because I don't know. But I will get to it, I promise. But the way on Schmegs in the City literally picks you up at your apartment on a first date. What? I made that mistake once in LA, and then that guy ended up being scary. And then I was like, oh my God, this man knows where I live now. Never again. Never, ever, 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 ever. Do not ever let these men know where you live. Even if you've gone on several dates with them, until you are sure. Sorry, you will never be sure. You will never be sure, but at least not until you have spent some time getting to know them should you let these men who you are going on dates with know where you live or pick you up. What? But also do not drive to their neighborhood. That's a whole nother video. All the things that I did on a first date. God, I learned through experience how to send a very loud and clear message that I am needy and have very little self-respect and I will do more than you ever are expected to. Please do not do that. One thing is driving to their neighborhood or driving to a place close to them. Do not ever do that. The egg doesn't swim to the sperm, baby. Okay, I just want to share some of the comments I saw on like the Facebook page. The fact that she thinks they all love her and would be heartbroken if she chooses another tells me that she should not be on the online sites and will be super easy prey for someone. She's entirely too naive for these sites. Exactly. Y'all, I am so lucky that when I got on these sites, I already knew that the most dangerous thing that I can do is date men. And because I took a whole year off of like nothing, not talking to them, want nothing to do with them. And then I eased back in. But at least I had experiential learning that that any of these men could me at any time. I don't think this lady realizes that. This poor lady, the fact she thinks she's going to be breaking all these hearts is proof she is in way over her head. Exactly. Please, y'all, don't do this. Go make friends. And I like this one here. It's this whole thing that she's entertaining the whole idea that I love you forever stuff. That's because she's missing her husband. That is really fast for I love you forever, especially if they remember, like, anyone saying that after chatting a month or two but never actually meeting you is a whole red flag. Love bombing, scammer, like lonely, literally just saying what they think we want to hear. And I think this is spot on. She's just trying to fill a void she has, and that level of attention is what she misses about her husband. I mean, let's assume that she liked her husband, I'm guessing, or she wouldn't be heartbroken. That's the void. Grief counseling would be better than dating. Boom. Also finding love within herself. I'm telling y'all, if you have never had an opportunity to date yourself, please do that. Please date yourself, because when you date men, when you date in general, but especially if you date men, the stakes are so high for you. And when you're not feeling good, that is when you are most likely to be scammed or taken advantage of or falling into an unhealthy relationship. Like, seriously, this is the number one advice I give to anybody. If you are between jobs, if you just got out of a terrible relationship, if you're experiencing the death of someone, maybe a parent or a friend or something, even a dog or an animal, a pet, if you're new to a city, or if that person that you want to date is new to the city, do not date. Don't date them. Don't date at all if you're new to a city. Build your community, please, because you cannot date on your own. You have to date within some sort of community. You need somebody who can hold you accountable and you can run things by when you're like, well, he said this. And they'll be like, dude, get out. Or they could be like, well, I think you're projecting, right? Seriously, this is life and death for women. Do not take this stuff lightly. Look at this. People generally prefer a single woman, not a widow. How much experience she may be. I would do the same. Okay, I wish I hadn't scratched out your name so I could show your face and your name here. Whoever you are, top fan. Oh my God, look at this. Gross. Where are you, sweetie? I'll come meet you. Ugh. Like, the comment section alone from men is proof enough. Stay off of Facebook. Stay off most of these sites. I mean, like, I disagree with Annie. I mean, Annie's telling her to go to Matchshop. No, don't go to any of them. Literally, go to grief counseling, go to therapy, if you can afford it. Or at least there are plenty of like free grief groups. There's so many support groups out there that are actually free or very cheap. Like, literally anything. Build your community. Go throw that energy and that need to connect into hobby, because getting online is going to have you chatting to ghosts. not wanting to break the heart of ghosts. Like, anyway, no matter what age you are, please, if you have never taken time to date yourself, and especially if you've been in multiple unhealthy relationships, or you are vulnerable right now because of a big change in your life, or just not feeling great, or super lonely, or any of those things, those are red flags in you. Right? Because you are not going to attract someone who is usually, not always, usually you are not going to attract someone who's really healthy and who really wants a relationship, because they're going to see you as a red flag, you as someone needy, you as someone lonely, you as someone looking to fill that void. So a healthy person will not be attracted to that. A healthy person will be like, because I've actually had dudes a couple times where I was like, they could see it. I was the red flag. And I'm so grateful that they're like, no, because they respect themselves, and they also see in me that I'm not a great partner at the moment. The same way that I've had those hard conversations with dudes where I was like, we have a connection and all, but it seems like you're really not in a good place. I don't really think you should be dating at all. Which brings me back to my final point. Are you dateable? We focus a lot on I talk about, red flags and what to look for, and how dangerous it is dating men. Are you dateable? I had to ask myself that regularly. And every time I tried to date when I was not in a good place and I was really not dateable, and I would never date myself, like if I was someone who was healthy, I would not be attracted to me. You should not be out there, because if you date men, especially, the men you will attract are men who are predators and who are like, that one right there, that one. You're going to attract people like a bear would treat you better than any of the men you're going to meet. Please protect yourself, stay safe, and build your community, and focus on your friendship when you're not in a good place, because you're going to end up sounding just like that lady. I've got 8 men in love with me. I don't want to break their heart, but none of them will meet me. Anyway, thank you for being here. Please follow my Patreon. Oh my God. This is weird. I don't know why. I just got this. Apparently it has different races.
Follow my Patreon.
Follow my Patreon. I've got a live coming up this Sunday. We're going to talk about community building. We're going to talk about parenting teenage boys. We're going to talk about supporting siblings of special needs children. We're going to talk about mental health and all kinds of cool stuff with Leslie. There's the top 2 tiers of my Patreon. You can come to the live, but I will have an edited version of it, like maybe a month later. I still have to figure out how to edit these things on YouTube Studio. It's like, it's not working, because Teresa's live is still awesome, and I haven't been able to post because I can't figure out the editing, how to save it. Anyway, join my Patreon, like, comment, share, send this to somebody who might need to hear this today. Just be like, I don't know, I found this interesting. Thank you for being here. Et voilà. Okay, before I go on, please
Follow my Patreon.
Lots of fun stuff over there. Lives. We had a live coming up in a week with Leslie. Can't wait to introduce y'all to her. If you don't already know her, we're going to talk about community building and all kinds of amazing stuff. And a lot of y'all been asking for that. I talk about France. I talk about dating. I talk about healing. I talk about all kinds of stuff. Please go join, even if you can't afford a tier. I do drop some free content occasionally, and you can also at least know when I'm doing stuff, because it'll notify you. Unlike notifications here, don't seem to work for a lot of people. Make sure you're sub, by the way, if because it unsubs people without them knowing. Anyway, we have fun over there. This is the comment song. This is the comment song. We got Anthony on guitar and Mo sitting next to me. We thought we'd leave you a little entertaining song. Wrap it up, write your comment, wrap it up, tell a story, wrap it up. I hope you have something cool to say. Okay, you're about to end. Are you done? Et voila. Thank you. Et voila.